Okay, so back to inner vision, this time in the context of stock trading. I try not to make too many movies about stock trading because I'm a stock trader and people, stock traders tend to relate everything to stock trading. And so, and it bores people. So, but I think this will not bore anybody because one thing that traders are always talking about is how their emotions defeat them in trades and how there is no room for emotion in trading. And they're right. And the thing that they don't realize is that their emotions are caused by trauma. And trauma is something that you do, the kind of trauma that I'm talking about and that they're talking about. We're not talking about getting in an accident and having your legs severed here. That's a different kind of trauma. That's the one you go to the emergency room for. But there's no emergency room for this kind of trauma. And I was listening to this trader give a talk on YouTube yesterday, and he was talking about how people um, they go into. He didn't use the words like I'm using or understand that he was talking about this, but what he was saying is that a lot of people think they have negative emotions when they're losing, when they're in a losing position. But what he was saying was that people's negative emotions can like overwhelm them when they're in a winning position. And that's right. That's the big problem that traders have. Not the public who, get into trades and, they have a lot of problems too, but I'm talking about professionals, who they're one of their biggest problems is that they close winning trades, and the boss tells them, "Great, you know, your monthly's looking good." They get all kinds of encouragement for doing that, and you know, I and I see on the finance channel these guys are talking about. They have this on the finance channel. There's like an hour show. It's like it's done. They do it in sections, and there's this hour show about trading, and one of them is talking about like that he's putting on a trade and his risk is 2 points and his projected reward is 4 points. And it's just like it's awful. I mean, they're just encouraging people to do this kind of traumatic trading, and the only thing that works with trauma is to cure it, and you cure it by exercising your inner vision. So, for example, I don't actually have a trauma. It's hard to use an example because I don't actually have a trauma. But the way you do it is you go, do I have any? Am I in any trauma now? And then if your finger moves, mine didn't, but if yours does this, it means that you have. And so trauma is when you do something to yourself or somebody else. So, um, oh, I have an idea. I trade with a partner, and I don't know if he exercises his inner vision as much as I do, because I don't go into trauma during trades generally. I got wise to it a while back. And one of the things that tends to happen when you get wise to trauma, and when you've done a few, your tendency to traumatize yourself drops. So anyway, we were in a trade, and see, the magic formula for trading was given by Jesse Livermore, who you can Google, and you can and who committed suicide, by the way. He wrote a suicide note to his wife, and he said, "I can't keep fighting anymore." And he was said to be broke at the time. He used to make millions and then blow up, and then he'd get people to lend him some money so he could get back on his feet, and he'd make more millions, and then he'd blow up again. And that's how he traded. So he wasn't exactly the most methodical trader, although he did have a method. Everybody does. And I think he pretty much stuck to it, which was good. But as far as I think that he may have had a physical. See, back in those days, there were a lot fewer cures, like for cancer and so on. There's a lot of good treatments for things like that now, and so you don't see as many people committing suicide. Although my friend's dad blew his brains out because he had cancer. He didn't tell anybody he had cancer either. See, this is the thing that interferes with us helping people cure cancer and other things, is that, like the guy went into the backyard and put his shotgun in his mouth, and his daughter didn't find out about his cancer till the doctor told her after he died. It's like he just wouldn't tell anybody about it, and she could have provided a cure for him. She could have helped him. It's really a shame, like, I just feel like I love people and I want to see them help themselves, but I'm not going to traumatize myself over this. See, that's the thing. You get wise to trauma, and then you just don't do it as much. And anyway, my trading partner started to traumatize himself, and we were in this trade that we were at a loss with, and the formula that Jesse Livermore gave is be right and sit tight. And we were right. And so I was just, not closing the trade, and then it went in our direction, and then I closed it, after a while. And I closed it at a good place. But later I asked him about his feelings, and why he was saying the things he was saying. And he told me that he went into trauma. And see, he knew, this is what I don't understand about people. Like, a lot of times people know they're in trauma, but they choose to stay in trauma. I have a story about this. A gay friend of mine had a lover who was a really wonderful guy, beautiful guy. If that's your direction. Not necessarily mine, but I get it, Anyway, but he, I had shown him how to do this and how to cure his trauma. And when his friend died, I called him and I asked, would you like some help? I'll help you with because I know it must be really tough. And he said, I think I need to stay in trauma about this for several years. And I think that may have been our last conversation, as a matter of fact. I'm taking no prisoners in this lifetime, guys. I love the guy. You know, he's a sweetie, and he took me out for my birthday one year and so on. You know, we go back a long way. But he did all my courses long ago, every one of them. He was there. And then he did this too. He connected with his inner vision. He was pretty good at it. You know, I have to say, you know, he was. You had to like admire him. You know, he's a very admirable person. Brilliant, brilliant too. Brilliant person. But if there ain't nothing I can do, I will go do something I can do. That's what I do. You know, I just keep trying to do what I can do. And you know, it's what the AA people say. They've got a lot of good wisdom, you know. And they say, they have this little prayer like, give me the strength to do what I can do, and to, if I can't control something, to not try to control it. You know, it's a good prayer. But anyway, so that's what you do. You say like, okay, do I have any trauma? And one easy way to work on this is you just ask if you have any trauma from the last, few days, and see if you get yes. Now, do I have any trauma from the last few days? No, but I'm definitely getting a signal, and that's what you ought to do. And then if you do, then you get the time and the place by just asking, like, was it yesterday? Yes. Okay. 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Fine. Was it after 10? So it started at a little around 9. And what was happening yesterday around? Oh yeah. And you remember whatever, you were 10 minutes late and started for work, and you started traumatizing yourself. And you just once you think you've identified the trauma, the next thing you ask is, have I cured it? Don't try to dig in and stuff. Just have I cured it? If you don't get a signal, then say, well, okay, what did I do? Did I do something to myself? No. To somebody else? Yes. What is it? To my boss? Yes. And then let's say you find that what you did was you judged him. That is doing something to somebody, by the way. Having a negative judgment about them. And so then you say, okay, now that I see that, am I still judging him? No. Have I cured the trauma? Bingo, it's gone. And you see if you feel different. Remember to look at yourself and see if you feel any different. And this is great exercise for your inner vision, and creates intuitiveness and self-awareness.